Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third workshop of our Gardening 101 series. We're going to be talking about transplanting today. I don't know if y'all have your tomato, lettuce, and basil seedlings ready, but we're going to be transplanting them into bigger containers. So let's see. These are the items we'll be using for a demo today. Make sure to have those ready. Yeah. For everyone who didn't hear, but I have my fabric grow bag filled up with 2 inches of potting soil at the moment, so that we can have time, more time later for planting. We have a couple announcements. I don't know if you all are on Instagram, but for anyone who does, feel free to share your experience using the hashtag AGVGarden101 or Aggies Grow Veggies. And if you see here, this is a photo with Aleda. If you are interested in helping out with continuing these gardening workshops in the future to make gardening more accessible and affordable for student gardeners, definitely reach out. Please email me at Borah and telling me that you're interested. Q&As and breakout groups at the end. We're just going to try to streamline it so we don't have like a long waiting line, and we'll be able to answer more of your questions. All right, this is our icebreaker for today. I know this is also following up from our take-home challenge, but have a look at the vegetables. This is another planting guide. So have a look at this list on the right and think about what vegetables you would like to plant around this time of year in Davis for a summer garden. So take a minute or two to think. You can see here at the next, you can see the color scheme here. From green is like what to orange is like when you can plant or transplant. So if that falls in like the time of year that we are in right now, that's something that you can plant in this climate. But the reds, if it gets to the red, that means it's about time to harvest or finish growing that crop for this season. Does that make sense? Let's see, who was that? Oh, sorry. Okay, well, we'll have to talk with that student directly, but there are other options with planting in the grow bag or let's see. Oh, Carolina didn't either. Okay. That is the one that we use to grow radishes. So did anyone, yeah. If anyone hasn't received this, there are other ways to make do-it-yourself containers, like with plastic containers or, you know, like one of those, like even like one of these. If you just poke, I have this with water, but like poking holes at the bottom, you can have a deep container for that. Okay. Let's see. Anyone want to share different vegetables that they would like to plant at this time of year? I, for one, would like to plant. Ooh, Aleda, yes?
Right now, I'm growing peppers. I bought some transplants.
Ooh.
I don't know if you could see them. They're like, can you see? I don't know if you could see them.
They look so great.
And then I bought a few herbs. Yeah.
I can't really see myself, but
They're behind me.
That's so exciting. Melon, cucumber, and tomato. Someone said cucumber, cauliflower, and carrots. Ooh. Spinach, sweet corn, yes. I'm looking forward to planting some tomatoes and beans, melon. Actually, my neighbor yesterday gave me this special type of squash. I'm super excited to plant that. Bell peppers, jalapenos. Those look great. Yes, keep them coming. Yellow crooked neck squash. Carrots for sure. I mean, it's great that we live in California where we have several growing seasons, not just one. There's no snow that, kills off other frost tolerant, frost sensitive plants. Sun gold cherry tomatoes. Oh, that's so exciting. Well, yes, keep them coming. This is a great way to think about what you would like to plant in your own garden if you were to get a small plot, like an upscale our container gardens. And yeah, this is exciting to think about what's in season, what we can start growing now. Spring is here and summer is coming. All right, so for our transplanting demo, we're gonna get started with our seedlings. So I'm gonna stop sharing this screen. How is everyone doing? I know a couple people haven't received all their items. I'm sorry to hear that. It'll be great to see if you all can and share your screen. It'll be great to see where everyone is with their kits. That I'll be doing the demo first, and then we'll get time in breakout groups as always with our mentors to actually transplant them. So yeah, making sure we have all our items in our 18-inch planter box. We'll be planting lettuce. And I'm gonna start doing my virtual screen so that you all can see my items better. You'll also get to see my living room. Okay, is this a better view? Great. So this is my radish, and if you could also see my plastic labels, but I labeled them radish, and then onions in the middle, and then on the left here is where I want to plant my lettuce. So if you just want to, you guys can show us how your lettuce looks right now, right? This is how my lettuce looks. Imagine, like, at the store, what does a fully mature lettuce look like? It's a lot bigger, right? So you're gonna want to give it space to grow, and it'll maybe grow up to like 8 inches, 12 inches. But I'm just thinking right now it's really small, but I'm gonna try to set aside some space so that it has enough space to grow bushier and more mature, right? And so this is my lettuce for here. And then just letting you know, I'm planning to plant my cherry tomato and basil in another container. Basil actually does not like to be planted next to onions. So that's something to know. There are some companion plants that are friends, and there are other plants that are foes and don't like to be next to each other. You can look more about companion plants online as well. So that's going to be in my grow bag. And does anyone know how tall cherry or tomatoes grow? Do you know how big they get? This is like about a foot now, but they can grow to like 4 feet tall. I've seen ones that are taller than me. So technically these are our container gardens at home, right? For students like us who might not have a huge backyard garden to grow in, but these can go really tall. So we're gonna transplant them now into this grow bag, but later on, if you want, if you have space in the back, you can totally like maybe grow it outside in backyard or another garden and transplant it even further. Any questions so far? Okay. I'm gonna get started with the lettuce, but question for you all. What is the difference between transplanting and planting? What's the difference between planting and transplanting? Anyone want to take a guess? Share it out or drop it in the chat box. You can think what we planted radish seeds, right? Last week we planted from seeds or bulbs like the onions in the planter box. But why are we transplanting these lettuce seeds? Why aren't we just planting the lettuce seeds in our box? The student farm, think about it. Yeah, the student farm actually planted them for us earlier, right? And then right now we're growing these lettuce and basil and tomato seedlings, and we're transplanting these seedlings into our boxes or containers. Why? What is the difference? And why are we doing that?
I think we transplant because the container that it's in right now is too small for it to keep growing. And so you transplant it to a bigger space so that it has more room for like the roots to grow and for the plant to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great, yeah, we're definitely thinking about spacing. We're also thinking about like what environment do the seeds like to grow in, right? If we grow like at the student farm, the seeds grow in a controlled, safe environment. But right now, sorry, they're going in a safe, like controlled environment. Maybe it's warmer, like tomatoes, they like to be, they don't like the frost. So if we had started them out like in February or January outside, they wouldn't really grow well. But now that they have grown up to a little bit, to be a bit more hardy and sturdy, they are able to, we can transplant them out into a grow bag or outdoors, and they can better survive and thrive. Okay, I'm gonna go on with the demo. If others, people could continue to drop your questions in the chat box, feel free to do so. We have our mentors to answer questions. So we're gonna take our lettuce, and as you know, we're just gonna be very careful because these are baby seedlings, right? You can see there are the leaves and the stem. I'm holding it at the stem, and there's the roots, and you can see the roots are super tiny and cute. So we're gonna be very careful with them. I have my 18-inch planter box, like I said, and I'm going to be planting it right here. So I just want to think about spacing, and I'm going to plant, I'm going to make a hole that is about twice as big as this root ball here. And so you can do that with your hands. You can wear gloves if you would like, but I'm just going to dig in. And I'm going to make a hole that is about twice the size. And then I'll be placing my lettuce seedling in there. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. So after
How deep do we plant it? Do we completely bury it or?
Yeah, good question. Do we want to bury all the leaves? No, I think we're gonna, I made it a bit deeper than the root ball. So, and then I will, when I place it inside the hole and then cover it up, I want the stem and where the stem is touching the roots to be just at the surface level of the soil. Does that make sense? And then, and then after I put it inside, I'm going to be covering up the soil and patting it down so that the roots can make contact with the rest of the soil. And then I can either use some water, like a watering can, or spray to make sure that the soil is moist around the root ball so that the roots can start to absorb water. But that's not too difficult, right? It is stressful for the plant, so we want to be very careful with it. Yeah, questions?
We couldn't see you spraying the water of the transplant. Can you hold it up and spray it again so we can see where exactly you're spraying, if you're spraying the leaves or just the soil?
I have my planter box and it's moist already. Like I can see, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not very dry. I'd say I've been watering it every day or every other day. Whenever I see this potting soil start to get dry or feel dry to the touch, I've been watering it. So it's not very dry right now, but I've been watering not the leaves as much, but I'm trying to get the soil wet because the soil and the roots is where the water is. The plant will be absorbing water and sucking it up through its roots. So I'm going to be pouring water, or also picking up, spraying the soil. Any other questions? Good question. Thank you, Katarina. All right, I'm gonna move on to the tomato. I know if you're not done yet, this is fine. Actually, we encourage you to just watch, and we'll have time with the breakout groups with your mentors to transplant as well. I'm gonna get the tomato and the basil. If you're having trouble identifying the plants, you can also rub the leaves and smell your fingers, and any herbs are going to have that smell. The tomato leaves also have a smell. So I will be transplanting the tomato, but tomatoes, I've taken it out. You can see the root balls are just about good. Like, it's good to also judge for yourself, like, when are my seedlings ready to transplant? And right now, these tomato is about like whenever tomatoes are 4 to 8 inches tall, I'd say is a good indicator. For usually with plants, they have the first leaves, and then they'll have true leaves, which are different. When they have 2 to 3 pairs of true leaves is when I transplant. So for tomatoes though, just FYI, tomatoes can grow really tall, right? As tall as it grows, that's how deep the roots will want to grow as well. So we want to make sure they have a sturdy root structure and foundation. So I'm actually gonna clip off this lower leaf, and I'm gonna immerse, like I was saying earlier, the soil, the seedlings deeper than what I did for the lettuce. Like, instead of planting it right here where the soil is level, I'm gonna plant where the soil can cover up to like maybe the lower leaf here. I might even take this one off too. And at these nodes are where other roots can form. And so that's why I encouraged everyone to set up their grow bag with 2 inches of soil at the bottom, because that Anca and I calculated for my seedling. But if you want to calculate for yourself too, try to see where is the lowest leaf. And if I want my tomato to be growing just about like right here, how much soil do I need at the bottom so that it rests right on top? And that's just to save time for our demo today. That's why I asked you to fill it up with like 2 inches of soil. And then, so I have my tomato with the lower leaves plucked. Should I do this one too, Anca?
No, leave it, please.
And then usually kind of like massage the roots. If the roots are more root bound, and if I left it a bit too long in their tight, small containers, they might be wrapping around, and I would just kind of massage the roots a bit, but I think ours are pretty good. And then I'm going to fill it up with soil, just holding onto my tomato at the stem carefully. And then I have my potting soil next to me that's already moist, and I'm going to fill it up. And then around the tomato. And I also later want to leave some room for my basil, because I'm going to plant the basil in next to the tomato. And like I was saying earlier, basil and tomato are really good companion plants. That's something that you can look into later, but they have beneficial, kind of like a mutually symbiotic or like mutual beneficial relationship. And there are quite a few plants that like to be planted with other plants, and some plants that are foes and don't like to be planted with other plants, like basil and onions don't like to be planted next to each other. Okay, what do you all think? This is my preliminary planting. Might go back and pet and like touch around, make sure everything is looking good later. But any questions so far? Oh, and then I don't want to forget my basil. So this also, I'm holding it by the stem, but I think I'm just gonna plant it where the soil level is about here. So I'm gonna make a hole with my hands again next to the tomato, so it can go deep in, and then I'll cover it, add some soil, and have my basil next to my tomato. And I think this is looking pretty good. Right now, the tomato and basil is just about as tall as each other, but the tomato is gonna spike up and grow super tall And the basil actually likes to get shade. So it'll be nice to have the tomato taller and overshadowing the basil. Ta-da! Question.
Are you going to water that, or was your soil already moist?
My soil was already moist. I'm like feeling it, and you can see it's getting stuck on my hands. But I will water it again because as seedlings, and this is just like any transplanting is stressful for them. So we want to make sure, like especially the first week or so, to water every day, or make sure it's gets the sunlight it needs, gets the water it needs. And we're going to talk more about plant care next week. So definitely stay tuned. Other questions? Okay, that's it for our planting demo today. Should we go into our stretch, break, and breakout groups? All right. Okay, looks like some people are following along. I hope you are. Yeah, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to your mentor. Okay.
Borah, I want just one quick question, because everyone will have planted their transplants today sometime. And then when do you think would be, like, should they check the moisture of the soil tomorrow morning to see if they should water again? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I'd say if for all the students here, if your potting soil is not moist right now and it's like pretty dry, you can still do the same demo that we did and then plant afterwards. I found that these grow bags are really good at just like draining water. So just do it outdoors, water it, or you can get things wet, and then just use your sense of touch and see, does it feel dry, does it feel moist. You can also see your just look at it and see if it's like it looks dry, like brown, or like if it's like looks darker brown and it's more moist. I definitely check maybe later today and tomorrow and the next couple of days. Just check on your plants. You don't need to flood it, you don't need to overwater it, because remember, also roots need air, so they also need to be able to breathe. They don't want to be flooded in a super wet environment. Okay, I'm gonna unleash you all to breakout groups. So stand up, stretch, and then do some more planting. Ask your mentors questions. If you're not sure about what's planting versus transplanting, why are we transplanting these seedlings, or all these other questions, feel free to ask as well. All right. So, we didn't get to spend time on this, but if you still don't feel like we don't understand planting versus transplanting, which are should be direct seeded versus transplanted, this is a great resource to have. It's on Canvas. Someone will drop the link on the chat box, but you can see there's some cool season crops, warm season crops, what to transplant, when to transplant. We're going to cover it in a bit. Karla is our guest speaker for today. She will be sharing about what transplanting can look like at a slightly larger scale. So if you wanted to upscale your container garden going after this workshop series, she'll be sharing some tips and tricks. And also she also prepared a video for us after of sharing out her own community garden plot. So it'll be exciting to see that. And at the end, there's a little guessing game with some prizes involved. So stay tuned. Okay, Karla, did you want to take it away?
Okay, cool. I'm gonna figure out this annotation thing.
Oh yeah. Do you all still see the bottom box? I'm gonna hide floating meeting controls.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's me on the left, sharpening the shovel with an angle grinder. That's my personal garden on the right. We can go to the next slide now.
Also, feel free to ask her questions. She's super willing to help out or connect you all with resources.
Yes, yeah. And if anyone is interested in being a part of the industry, I can definitely help you get into it and talk to you about what it's like. These are just a number of places that I've worked at, outdoors and indoors. So my experience really started in 2010. I was 19 years old with worldwide opportunities on organic farms. I highly recommend, if this is something you enjoy and you have the summer off, they will feed you, they will give you shelter, have fun, like enjoy it. I'm from the East Coast, so Pennsylvania was not far from where I was at, so that's where I went. So in that farm, that was like the biggest farm I've worked at. It's 13 acres and it's a commercial, somewhat commercial farm. Here we used tractors to transplant. So in the top right here, can you see my arrow? Yeah. So first we started out with a tractor that would punch holes into the plastic covering. That plastic covering was used to suppress weeds. So after poking holes into the plastic covering, we would ride on the tractors and insert our plugs. We call them plugs into the ground. And here's an example of some plugs. These are the trays that they come in. And I noticed some of you had some here. Like if you look, they're like in this tractor. They have seed trays with them, and they must have been going slowly because you have to like throw those in there. But that's how a larger scale like permaculture, community supported agriculture would work. You can go to the next slide. So I have here the commercial point of view. Why would, oh my gosh, my arrow is like so delayed. Whatever. Okay. So why would the plugs be more ideal? Well, if we look here, that's trying to mimic like a 200 cell seed tray, like what I showed in the photo before. Not all of those seeds are gonna germinate. So a seed tray is good because you can start out, see what's gonna come out. If you put those in like the 4-inch pots, you know, like here, you'd be wasting so much soil. You'd be buying more expensive containers. Like that's it's an economical reason, and it would take up a lot of space. So on a commercial level, it's, you know, saving resources, taking up less space. Yeah, because the likelihood. And then here is a picture of, you know, if you did put it in a 4-inch pot, like in that garden bed, farm bed, you see the roots are spreading out, and that is harder to just transplant versus the plug, which is, you know, controlled where the roots are, and you're not gonna disturb them as much. Next. My video. Okay, so
This is
next.
where we share her video. Let's see. This is Carla. Wait, let's see. Can you all hear it?
Am I gonna share my video?
No, I could share the video.
Because I had it prepared on
Oh, yes,
my
yes, yes. Oh,
computer
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah. Please
the
share.
volume issues and stuff that
Please
we
share.
rehearsed.
And then at the end, there's a little guessing game with some plants that she's sharing around. So we have some seeds for anyone who does get to answer the quiz questions.
And we'd like you to share those answers in the chat, please. Thank you.
Welcome to my garden.
I've got a lot of things to do today, so I figure I could show you around while I do these things, and we can all learn something. Do what you want, but me personally, I want a tomato vine, not a tomato bush. Here's one. Gonna take that off. Here's another one right here. There. Gonna take that off. This sucker, it's becoming a significant thing. This one's thicker, so I'm gonna keep that, but I'm gonna take this off. This here is an example of the Bermuda grass root system. Now, Bermuda grass is intense, very challenging to get out. Like, look how far this thing had to go to find light. Okay, so my next thing on my to-do list is to protect the new transplants I just put in. So one of those is a cucumber, an Armenian cucumber. Also, I wanted to say, like, if you're gonna get into gardening, some like essential things you need to have are a hori hori. Highly recommend, so useful. And what's cool about it is it's got inches along the blade. So if you're ever wondering about spacing, you can reference your hori hori. Next thing, very obvious, pruners. But Falcos, these are the best pruners, Swiss made, best in my opinion. And if you talk to most people, they will say the same. You can replace the blades, you can replace the spring, you can replace these little gear things, everything. That's what's great, because they can last forever. You just replace what needs to be replaced. Next is one of these, a utility knife, a box cutter essentially. What's great about these, especially if you have a clip-on, you can just take this with you everywhere. Super useful. And what's great is that you don't have to worry about sharpening and the annoyances of that, because you can just take out the blade, put in a new one, there you go. So anyways, what we're gonna do here is protect my cucumber. So I found this 3-liter recyclable bottle, and I'm gonna be using this to act as a collar to protect my cucumber. I watered this soil beforehand so that it would be easy for me to push this in. So next we're gonna play a garden veggie guessing game. I do want to show you this clip really quick though, this ladybug larva that I found while recording today. If you don't already know, these are your friends, don't kill them.
All right, y'all ready?
They frequently grow in patches. They can tolerate being crowded. Commercially, they don't do that because, you know, again, harder to control, easier to spread mold,
Nice.
etc. I'll pause it. Oh shit.
Yeah, we actually got some people who guessed it already. Brooke, Cindy, and Catherine, Katie. Nice. All right, so that's the first. This is a strawberry plant. Did y'all know that? Yes. We don't have any strawberries right now, but that's super cool that she's growing them.
Trying to pause it, but like stuff is lagging so hardcore right now, kind of annoying.
And now we're ready. Coming up with the second one.
Seascape strawberry. These are ever-bearing, which means that when I take the fruit, more fruit will come. Not all strawberries are like that. What could this be? Has a very distinct shape.
Ooh, what do people say? Well, it looks like, yeah, pepper. Is it pepper, Carla?
Yep.
Nice. Ruby's got the answer
It's
first.
purple beauty bell pepper.
Are those spicy?
That it too has suckers. Not spicy, it's a bell pepper.
Oh, wow.
What do you
Nice,
think these
bell pepper.
plants are? Take a guess.
Ooh, we got a lot of corn.
Yep.
Nice.
Our corn.
Ruby again.
Let's zoom in on this corn.
Corn gets really tall, huh? Wow.
Looks wrong to you about this corn? There's like a whole clump of them. You want to thin that out. Now, when we look at this corn, that looks good. So that concludes our garden tour. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me be part of this learning experience. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.
All right. Thank you, Carla, for your video and your presentation.
Yeah, no problem. I started out with 30 minutes, you all, but because I had too much fun, but I really made it short.
Does anyone have any questions for Carla, for mentors, for gardening in general? Okay. Now we have some questions and announcements that we can share with you all. And then let's see. These are the take-home challenges for this week. Oh, by the way, we'll go back to a Q&A time at the end in breakout groups if anyone wants to ask more questions. But take-home challenges for today, for this week, like we were saying, today we learned about transplanting, but how to take care of the plants, the seedlings that we have now transplanted, and the plants that we have in our backyard or in our container gardens. So next week we're going to start talking about plant care, how to take care of them. What do plants need? So for a take-home challenge, look around your street, neighborhood, or local park and take a photo of a healthy looking plant and an unhealthy looking plant and share that on Discord or share that on Canvas and bring those photos with you to the workshop next week. Keep watering your plants. We really highlight the importance of observations, writing down notes. So sketch them, write them down. And then we have a midpoint survey or evaluation just to see, like, we didn't want to flood you with surveys after each workshop, but I thought one midpoint evaluation will be great. We would love to hear your feedback. So if someone could drop the link in the chat box as well. There's a Google form, and then on Canvas, there's more information about the assignment, but there is a reflection exercise. So we believe that just as important about is learning about how and what is gardening like, but connecting and grounding ourselves with the why and what for. Why are we gardening, right? And connecting with those motivations and your experiences. This will be a great way to tap into your wisdom and share that with us. So suppose, yeah, hopefully this is as helpful, beneficial for you. And then lastly, if you can all take a minute to think about one thing we learned about today. And then take a minute to reflect, and then write that down in the chat box. There's more space in your garden journal as well if you want to write it out. But what's one thing that you learned today that you like to write down or share? Good one. Removing suckers from plants. It's good to remove smaller leaves before transplanting. Transplanting can be stressful for plants. Basil and tomatoes are buddies. I like that. Yes, plants can have mutually beneficial relationships. Like the basil will keep different pests away from the tomatoes. The tomato growing tall will help shade the basil, and because basil doesn't like too much sun. Karla has raised her hand.
Yes, I feel like starting out, just me as well, overwatering is like the #1 killer, especially for indoor plants. I highly, highly, highly recommend a moisture meter. Just trust in it too, though, like actually believe in it. Because I remember in the beginning, I just wanted to keep watering, and then it would wilt, and then I'd be like, oh, it's wilted. I need to water it. No, it's rotting at that point. My stuff is like out getting blasted hardcore by the sun. Sometimes I don't water it for a full day. They're totally cool. I think it's better to like wait for signs that it's like drying up and it can recover better than like keeping it wet all the time. Like I just highly stress.
I'd say,
that.
yeah, I mean, but you can also use your observation skills with your, touch, with your scent. Like you can smell moist soil. You can also look at it. So just make sure to take your observations. That's why taking down notes is super important to see, oh, do my leaves look yellow? Is it because of lack of sunlight, or is it because lack of maybe overwatering or underwatering? So this is what we'll talk about next week too. But yeah, moisture controls tool would be also a great handy tool. Thanks for sharing all those out. Yeah, that was great. And then if you have questions, we're gonna stick around in breakout groups. Let me know if you have any questions specific to transplanting demo. Anca will be in group 1. Questions about seedlings, maybe we'll have I don't know if another mentor is available, but I'll be in the breakout group, in the general breakout group, to answer general questions about the workshop.